students. Today I will be doing paper 2, which is on women and literature, and module 24 based on American Indian women writers. I am Dr. Neeja Sachdev, Associate Professor, Head of the Department of English, SS Khanna Girls Degree College, a constituent college of the University of Allahabad. So, let us begin with the history of the American Indians. Do you know that the earliest Native Americans arrived from Asia through the Bering Strait, a land bridge during the Ice Ages, many centuries BC. During their migrations, these people settled all over America, including Central and South America. Some of these aboriginals, especially in Central Africa, formed highly developed cultures like the Mayas. Now, you see this map which is showing the advent of these people, aboriginals or the natives, to the North American continent. See how they are coming. And now when they have entered the continent, they are going to settle down. So, we must talk about their settlement. In the United States, the native Indians settled throughout the country. People in each area formed separate tribes and developed their own culture, language and living style. They were originally nomadic hunters and gatherers. Later, they developed agriculture and grew mainly corn, vegetables and fruits. Now, after making their settlement, naturally, we have to intervene in their daily intercourse of life. So, if we talk about their daily lives, we will find that the tribes were very possessive of their land boundaries. They ate the meat of buffaloes that were in plenty and roamed the vast lands. They were inter-tribal wars that the tribal solved through fighting or community discussion. The culture was of community living and not individualistic. After the discovery of America, as you all know, it was discovered by Columbus in 1492, European settlers came here. Their advent brought diseases like smallpox, chickenpox and measles, wiping out large populations. The settlers grabbed lands, waged wars and pushed them towards north and the west. Now, if we talk about after their settlement, about their assimilation and their present position, let us consider their assimilation to the mainstream culture and then in relation to that their present situation. The natives were converted to Christianity, and in the present situation, many American Indians live on reservations. Their children were sent to boarding school earlier, but now in the present situation, they manage their own affairs to a large extent. Now, talking about American Indian women. As we all know that women played a very important role in the life of the Native Americans. They were builders, warriors, farmers and crafts women. They were also medicine women who were able to soothe ill souls through their healing powers. There was a feeling of mutual respect between men and women of the tribes. More than that, many tribes have matrilineal or clan mother systems in which property and hereditary leaderships are controlled by and passed through the maternal lines. The children are considered to belong to the mother's clan. When young women in these tribes marry their husbands, they may join them in their mother's household. Overcoming all the odds of various disruptions in tribal life, American Indian women have survived. They have preserved and excelled in nearly all the fields of life, whether it is sports, education, academics, research, films, medicine or literature. They have managed to adhere to and preserve their roots, passing on the knowledge to their children. Talking further about them, many American Indian women have taken to writing poetry, novels, plays, essays, and other literature. Their works, whether fiction or non-fiction, reflect their culture. The characters usually pertain to their own tribes. They sometimes mimic real life events and people. Now, if we consider the three very well known writers, the American Indian women writers, which are Joy Harjo, Leslie Marmon, Silk, and Louise Edrich. However, many other lesser known writers have also accomplished much and received accolades. The works of all these authors has added to the rich wealth of literature now available in respect of American Indian tribes. Some writers, rather some Indian women writers have concentrated on the past and written much about the colonial period. Other writers, they concentrate on the issues pertaining to the lives of the tribal people and tribal nations now. The pain of separation from families, forcible assimilation into the Indian Christian culture, denial of their own values, language and customs is often reflected in the works of these women authors. Now, another point which must be taken notice of is that these women are not only writers but also teachers, researchers, and academicians. Many of them have taken up the cause of their people with the government and done much to bring improvement in the life, economy, and health of Native Americans. Wilma Mankiller is a very good example of such American Indian women writers. She achieved much for her tribe and wrote 2 books. I want to quote from the story of Sarah Winnemucca written by Deborah Kagan Ray. She has beautifully written about these American Indian women, talking of them as, "Many years ago, when my people were happier than they are now, they used to celebrate the festival of flowers in the spring. All the girls who had flower names dance along together. Each one gathers the flower she is named for, and then all weave them into wreaths and crowns. Each girl in turn singing for herself I, Sarah Winnemucca, am a shell flower. My name is Thokamet Tuni. Now, Native American women were not simply homemakers. Let me elaborate a little about their lives. In fact, they served a great deal of important purposes and were essential to the tribe in other ways as well. Women made tools and weapons out of animal bone, which was indispensable for everyone's survival. Not only were they medicine men in the tribes, but they were medicine women as well. In fact, many Native American tribes believed that the women had more healing power and were able to soothe ill souls with their chants and connection to the spirit world. Medicine women gathered herbs to create healing medicines for those who fell sick within the tribe. So you can imagine the assimilation powers that these women had. And more than that, additionally, most Native American women were master craftsmen who made beautiful blankets, baskets, and pottery. Jewelry was another favorite. There was a feeling of mutual respect between men and women of the tribes. They cared for their children and husbands, just like the modern woman does today. Without their help, it would have been very difficult for the Native Americans to survive. In connection with the life of these Native American women, we must not forget their gender roles. Gender roles are different in different Native American tribes. Irrespective of whether a particular tribe is predominantly matrilineal or patrilineal, usually both sexes have some degree of decision-making power within the tribe. Many nations have matrilineal or clan mother system in which property and hereditary leadership are controlled by and passed through the maternal lines, which was really a rarity. Overcoming the odds of uprooting the tribes, settlements in reservations, forced separation from families and culture, and forced assimilation and adoption of European lifestyles and languages, the American Indian women of native descent have survived and survived well. They have adopted the American culture and values, become assimilated with the mainstream. They have preserved and excelled in nearly all the fields of life, whether it is sports, education, academics, research, films, medicine, or literature, as I had already stated earlier. In fact, it is the American Indian women who have exceeded in all areas and left their menfolk far behind. In the words of an American Indian school social worker, Rhonda V. Kersey, from the Lokata tribe, the ratio of women to men excelling is 8.2. Now, see, this is remarkable that women excel than men, and that ratio is 8.2. Along with this unique achievement, they have managed to adhere to and preserve their roots, passing on the knowledge to their children. The latter fact is evident in the works of American Indian women writers. The children are considered to belong to their mother's clan. In Cherokee culture, women own the family property, which is really a rarity, because in the modern times you will hardly find women owning the family property. When they marry, their husbands may join them in their mother's household, which does not happen here. Matrilineal structures enable young women to have assistance in childbirth and rearing, and protect them in case of conflicts between the couple. If a couple separates or the man dies, the woman has her family to assist her. In matrilineal cultures, the mother's brothers are usually the leading male figures in their children's lives. Fathers have no standing in their wife and children's clan, as they still belong to their own mother's clan. Now, this is one of the very special features of their lives. And after discussing the lifestyle of these American Indian women, I must throw some light upon the women writers and their work. The first female chief of the Cherokee Nation, which was Wilma Mankiller, she wrote 2 books. First, Mankiller, A Chief and Her People, which was an autobiography. And the second book which she wrote is Every Day is a Good Day, Reflections by Contemporary Indigenous Women. She was a co-author as well as an editor, and she achieved much for her tribe. One of the other important and famous writers are Joy Harjo. She is one of the most well-known and renowned writers. She is known for her poems. She writes on contemporary problems of alcoholism in her Cherokee people. Her books are themes based on survival, and one of the famous book is The Last Song. We must not fail to mention one of the very important women writers, which is Leslie Marm Silko. She belongs to the Laguna Pueblo tribe. She draws on the storytelling tradition. She writes on the pain of separation, colonialism, and suffering. The 3 well-known works of Leslie Marm Silko are: first, The Man to Send the Rain Clouds; second book, Ceremony; and third, Gardens in the Dunes. Another important writer is Louise Edrich. She is an Ojibwe writer of novels. She writes poetry and children's books. The themes of her books deal with the current problems on the life of reservations. Some of her very well known books are: first, The Plague of Doves; second, Tracks; and the third is The Bingo Palace. Now, after giving or rather talking about the lifestyles of these American Indian women that have settled in America, and mentioning a few of the important female writers, let me summarize the whole point about the American Indian women. Firstly, American Indians came to the America several centuries before Christ through the Eurasia over a land bridge connecting the two continents. They settled throughout the continent and lived as separate tribes, developing their own cultures and languages. After Columbus discovered America in 1492, European settlers came to the continent and disrupted the American Indians. The settlers grabbed land from the tribes either through treaties or through invasions. The tribes were infected with diseases, as I told you, smallpox, plague, measles and chickenpox, for which they had no immunity and perished in large numbers. They were also forced to convert to Christianity, assimilate with the settlers and their lifestyles, and pushed into reservations situated in hostile and harsh lands. American Indian women played a very important role in the life of Native Americans. They were more than just mothers of the tribes and children. They were builders, warriors, farmers and craftswomen. Some tribes were matrilineal societies and the women had power over leadership, property and children. American Indian women have risen in every field and forced or rather faced better than men. There are many renowned American Indian women writers. Amongst them, let me mention two more, that is Linda Hogan and Alice Azure. American women have mostly written about their tribes, culture, hardships faced in the past, life on a reservation, the folk tales and the pain of separation from their roots. Lastly, they have also strived to improve the conditions of their brethren by bringing attention to their plight via their writings and their teachings. Thank you.